Welcome back to Eldritch Dungeon. Today I have an initial first impressions of Neon Skies. I guess I have to prepare for some hate mail on this one. Neon Skies. Man, where to begin? Normally I would be doing the good, the bad, and the ugly as my review format. I am not going to do that in this case. This is the third reshoot I have had to do because of how many problems I have had with this game. So I'm going to have to cover a lot of those. At the very end of this video, I will have some good, more hopeful, optimistic things I can say about this game, but we need to cover some of the bad. So before I even get into the product itself, which also has problems, I need to cover the character sheets. So the character sheets, when I first sat down to film a review that was a little bit more lengthy and in depth from this one, they would not download. They would not download for 3 days. I lost an entire weekend. I was originally going to roll up some characters, build them, run some games for just a demo to get a feeling for this game, and I could not do that because there were literally no character sheets available to me. The download failed again and again and again. To make matters worse, there's a page missing out of this book. We're going to look at the table of contents. You can see on the table of contents, page 238, 35, 36, 37, no 238, this is end paper. There were no character sheets that I could even scan to be able to use them. So I couldn't even see what they looked like out of the book. This is terrible. It was really frustrating, and on the last day of filming my review for this, they finally just went through and downloaded. I did the same thing every single time. This is not something I think Wylochs can control very well because it's Google. He does Google Drive downloads, so it's not anything that he did, but the fact that it wasn't included in the hard copy is a problem. Now, to slip something good in here, when I did finally download the character sheets, he did something really wonderful. He succeeded first and foremost on having a character sheet that was just one page. And that is very important. I have lost patience with games that require character sheets to be 2 or 3 pages. And I've lost patience with games that require everything to be compressed into tiny little lines requiring small handwriting. So good on Wylochs for that. And better yet, he included an alternative horizontal sheet, which is wonderful. Most of the times when I run games, I end up redesigning them to have horizontal sheets anyway. And that's because I've run into tons of issues with people using vertical sheets, pushing maps from their side of the table onto the other player's side of the table in order to make room for their sheets. So looking over the sheets, I don't think there is anything I will have to redesign. Here is another problem. The physical quality of this book is terrible. I don't hear anybody talking about this, and so I hate to be the bad guy here, but I'm gonna do it. Wylochs did a review of a very beloved game, and in that review he said, this book isn't a $60 book, this is more like a $20 to $30 book. That book was stitched and bound with premium matte paper. You know, it was designed to last 3 lifetimes, and that's where the $60 price tag comes from. The fact that he cannot appreciate that means that he has conflated cheapness with value, and they are not the same thing. This book is worse quality than Wizards of the Coast material, okay? Wizards of the Coast books are known for falling apart and having issues. The very first shipment that Wylochs received of these books had already fallen apart, and in that video he talked about them being factory defects and that wasn't normal. But I'm here to tell you that is very much normal. I have seen books like this before. This reminds me of the video game book guides that you used to get, and you'd leave them on your shelf, and a year later you'd open them up and they'd crack and they'd fall apart. It's not stitched, it's not bound, it is glued, and it is a very cheap glue job. On top of that, it is wrapped in cheap end paper. This stuff is the cheapest end paper I have ever seen. It is not thick. It is basically like a thicker version of printer paper. The glue on the book has actually soaked through the end paper because of how porous and cheap it is. This book will probably last me maybe 5 years, probably 3 to 5 years if I use it regularly. And this brings me to the next problem. Normally, if a book quality is really, really bad, what I would do is I would say, don't buy it, but the game is good, so go buy the PDF. But now I've had problems with the PDF. I don't know what it is. It does not run very well when I open it up in Google Documents. So running it from the cloud, it is clunky. It does not load well. It takes forever, which means you have to download it. And that's my preferred thing anyway. You should be able to download PDFs so you own them. However, it will not download for me. Like the character sheets, had problems downloading. The PDF, I go to download it again and again and again and again, and it starts and then it fails, and it starts and it fails. And to this day, I still cannot get the PDF that I paid for. Since this is not a full-blown review, I do eventually hope to make one for this game, because there's a lot about this game that looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. The fact that I could not get my hands on a character sheet to even build a test character and try out some of the mechanics, the fact that that took 3 days is really bad and unacceptable, especially when you combine it with the missing page in the back, which is, sadly, because of that, is now one of the most important pages to have. The inability to download the PDF, the poor book quality, I am more than frustrated with this. Wyloch, if you're watching this, you lose any right to complain about an independent creator charging $60 for a book that is stitched and bound and hard copy, when you are producing a book at the same price point at drastically inferior quality. I bought the Dungeon Master screen with this, the Game Master screen. Also highly reflective and actually kind of hard to read if you are dealing with directional light. The price that I paid for both of these products after shipping cost me the same as the book that he complained price-wise about, that did a better job, that had the character sheet in the back, that had better online support. I don't think there's being any polite about this. It is a fail. There are some good things I can say about this, and I'm still going to get into those because I'm going to try and end on a good note. Another thing that he has talked about in the other review he did is how, it's not really a 300 some odd page book. It's really more like a 50-page book if you actually put it into proper formatting size. Which, by the way, this is strictly opinion. These really, really, really large books are not better than A5 size. They take up more room at the table. They are more awkward to handle when you're trying to quickly look something up. And if you're really getting into, this book is not really this size, like he complained about, these are annoying. Every chapter ends with an NPC out of the world. It's not just like a fun little thing that tells you a little bit about the world. It's page after page of this stuff, and I'll try and add it up so we can see how many pages are like that. But when you're going to complain about how something is not really 300 pages if you shrink down the stuff that you don't need or you reformat it, then I'm going to have to also hold you to your own standards, and I'm going to add up how many pages are completely unnecessary in this book to the rules or understanding the world. Another personal pet peeve that I will have to talk about, this is just a small thing. This is not anything wrong. This is a nitpick. This is not a formal complaint like I've previously stated. One of the things he uses in this game is a D3 for damage. And in very classic Wyloch format, the way he calculates that is painful. A 1 and a 2 is a 1. A 3 and a 4 is a 2. And a 5 and a 6 is a 3. This is very confusing for most people. The way his math brain works is he tends to see dice in those types of patterns. He is the guy that always adds the D10 to the percentile die. So for him, a D100 rolls 100 when it is a 90, and then you roll the 0 on the die representing the 10 because you add the 10 to the 90. He is not the guy who streamlines 90 and 9 is 99 and then all zeros is 100. It's a pattern thing. It's more of a nitpick and a minor complaint. D3s are kind of a problem in games in general. It's gotten to the point where it's so annoying for me, I actually went out of my way to just buy a D3 die. So I'm eventually going to do game gripes, and I'll cover D3s more in depth, but if you don't like seeing a 2 be rolled on a die and a 2 really means a 1, or you roll a 3 on a die and that 3 actually means a 2, I would just get a D3 and use it for this game. So with the objective problems and some of my personal complaints out of the way, what is good about this book? One thing he's done really well, which I've covered before, are the player sheets. Now that I have them and looked them over, I love these things. They are organized extremely well. There's no crammed places where you have to write really teeny tiny. The simplistic layout of the human torso with where you can get different augmentations works extremely well. And like I said, the fact that he included horizontal player sheets is a massive win. I think that more game developers need to do what you're doing. The other thing that is great about this game is he accomplished his goal of simplicity with enough rules to still feel like a game. That is a difficult thing to balance. If you make something really rules heavy, it's difficult to get players to try playing it, and sometimes it's even difficult to get game masters to run it. If you have a game that is too simple and there are not enough rules, he is right when he says it is like playing make-believe, and it feels borderline childish on a genre of entertainment that already is a bit childish. I have not played this game yet, but from my initial read, it looks like the amount of rules he has included are a proper amount of rules, and it looks like he has included what is necessary, no rules that are unnecessary. So good job on that. The other thing that he has done really well with this is the lore. I really can feel how Rook City would operate and function. The weapon manufacturers feel like legitimate weapon manufacturers in a cyberpunk world. If you've watched this channel for any amount of time, you know that I typically really despise blurry digital art. I typically view it as lazy, and it irritates me when I cannot pick up details in a scene. I much prefer pen and ink style art. However, in the case of Neon Skies with a cyberpunk world, the art that he went with is really good. Even though it's blurry digital art, it actually works better for this genre because the point isn't fine detail. When you have these views overlooking the city, the point is not to see every little detail in the city. The point is to see the bright colors and busyness of the city, and the blurry digital art actually works really well for that. I'll try and show off an example here. This is my favorite piece of art in the entire book. I actually almost would love to get a poster of this. It's really cool. Seeing the city and the Rook-like building is really neat. He's done a great job with the lore behind it. I think his nuclear engineering background came in really handy for describing the core and how it's this mostly stable core. I thought that was a really charming description. Maybe charming's the wrong word, but I did really like that. One of the things I also really like is all of the miniatures I see were either crafted on someplace like Hero Forged, or he just hand built them. So in case you're wondering, I'm not trying to bash Wyloch as a whole. I love his YouTube channel, and I'm really grateful that somebody out there is willing to do long format crafting videos that are obtainable for people with even medium range crafting skills like myself. I am not a high-end crafter. I do build a lot of my own stuff, but I'm nowhere near as good as other channels. And my problem with a lot of other channels is that they are so good at building things that it's more of an art display and something you can look at, but you can never really accomplish yourself. And Wyloch builds things that look really amazing, but you can actually accomplish yourself. You can at least build something like it. And that is something I used to see done on channels like Dungeon Craft frequently, and I really loved seeing those. He stopped doing those videos because YouTube punishes you for doing those videos. So big thank you to Wyloch for being the guy to step up and still make videos like that. I watch them all the time. I love those videos. Wyloch, if you ever print another line of these books and you print them to a better quality standard where there's good quality end paper and you at least do stitching, preferably stitched and bound, I will pay more money for a book that is at least stitched. What I am not happy is paying out money for something that is not going to last me. And that is absolutely what these books will have problems with. They will fall apart. It is a matter of time. There is no fabric in the spine, so any impact that this book has, it's going to go directly into the glue, which will shorten the life even faster. So if you're thinking about traveling to conventions or you go over to friends' houses to play these games, keep in mind that if you transport this thing, you are going to have to be very careful when transporting it because there's no cushion to save any blows or bumps that the spine receives. Giving a bad review to a book like this for a beloved YouTube channel brings me no joy, but if you are thinking about spending your hard-earned money on this book, just keep in mind you are getting this physical copy for maybe 5 years, and if you get the PDF, you might not ever be able to download it. So until next time, keep your dungeons scary and your lands, or maybe cities, an adventure.